And yeah, and it'd be wonderful to share. So welcome everyone. We have our very special guests, Adrian and Lorelle Evans, on tonight, and we've requested they give us some progress update for their son, their 23-year-old son. So it's an incredible story. Feel free to take some time to tell your story, Lorelle and Adrian, and trying not to use medical terms, and we're not saying this claiming, we're not making any claims here, but it's a real story of faith and courage and persistence, and absolute determination to find solutions for your son. And it's a situation that just affects so many families around the planet, and it's just on the rise. And so yeah, I'm so grateful for you being brave enough to share your story with us tonight. So tell us what's maybe a little bit of context of what the situation is and what's been happening.
Well, so we're not allowed to actually use the medical diagnosis, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay,
so you could just share by explaining the signs and symptoms, perhaps.
Okay, well, the signs and symptoms, he certainly is not the average kid on the block, and is non-verbal, and special needs.
Yeah.
So
he's
you can imagine he's 23. Yeah. He got his diagnosis when he was 3, after a couple of years of going, what on earth is going on with this kid?
Yeah.
And I guess since 3 to 23, the last 20 years, we've spent a lot of money and done a lot of things.
At least $250,000.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
and I'm sure many families can relate to that. It's a big challenge in the family, but that's an extraordinary commitment. And thank you.
You try all the educational things that are offered. You try the psychology things that are offered, like the behavior therapies and things like that. And you try the biomedical approach, which is the supplements, and then all the crawling therapies and the listening therapies, and you name it, we've tried it. And I guess up until this point, everything helps, everything has helped, but many, many times we were given the hope that, oh, just this and he'll be talking, or just this and he'll be better and it will improve, but not to this level of the hope that you had.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things that gave us what minimal speech he has was the biomedical things. It was supplements to help his methylation pathways and his detox processes, because he doesn't detox very well.
But thanks for mentioning that, because I have that approach with any chronic degenerative disease and any anti-aging or any longevity or any of those things. It's so important to get those detox pathways correctly addressed. So yeah, thank you for mentioning that. And
I wouldn't say that it helped them to be functioning normal, but it certainly helped somewhat. And then one of the big therapies that we did for 3 years, and I'm so thankful for NDIS, which is our funding, to help pay for it, because probably we spent, multiple tens of thousands on this particular therapy. And it's a therapy where you do all the developmental stages of crawling right through to walking within a session, and we did it for 3 times a week for 3 years. And so it's go to a centre, do the therapy, and if you've seen the photo that we put on how we have him communicating, the speech therapist taught us how to get him typing one finger on an iPad.
Yeah.
He just needs a little bit of support under his wrist to be able to feel where his hand is to do it. And you need a bit of back pressure to sort of help him to guide himself to it. And that's a controversial type of communication in the speech therapy world in itself. So anyway, that gives us a window into his mind, because he's gradually, and the things that we saw changing in his mind during that zone of those 3 years that we did that particular therapy, a movement-based therapy that was working on retained primitive reflexes, was really amazing, because instead of just describing things or commenting on things, it was like da 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 da, because da 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 da, and we go, whoa, he's now reasoning. He's actually starting to reason. And since now we've been on a SIA since March, so it's been 5 months.
Yep.
And at first, because of all the detox things, that he was getting, it was really, really hard. He has some pretty massive meltdowns, which at 23, being a strong boy, it's pretty interesting to handle.
Yeah.
It's good for my isometric exercises, Justin.
Isometric, meaning a lot of hold positions.
Lots of holds.
Until it all blows over, and then we can get out the iPad and say, well, what was going on? And then he goes, I had a headache. Well, if you could have told us you had a headache, we could have got you something for it. Anyway, so we have some very interesting times. But at the beginning of the journey, we started at the child dose at the 30 mils of the liquid ASEA, and that was too much. So we had to tone it right down. So we gradually increased. And in the last little bit, it's almost like, you know, you can increase like this, and now we're able to increase faster. So we've now got him on to
300 mils
300
a day.
mils a day, and he was on 180 when I posted that. That was like a week ago. Was that
Yeah.
Friday?
Yeah.
And
Wow.
we go, well, let's just do 240, and now we've just gone up to 300, and he's handling it.
And one other thing that, Justin, is that as one of the kickbacks that we got is that as Daniel became more aware through the developmental training, as he became more aware of his surroundings, his anxiety level began to increase because of awareness of what's going on in the world. And so he was diagnosed with a global anxiety disorder.
As well.
And over the last few years, traveling and with Daniel, because of that anxiety, particularly he's triggered by dogs.
So we couldn't come to your place. They'd have to hide him away.
Totally understand. Yeah.
We love dogs. Daniel doesn't. But so that I travel a lot. We travel a fair bit, and it's been quite difficult. This last trip that we have done, we started to see a lot of the old Daniel much more relaxed, a lot calmer. It's just made our quality of life so much better. And
yay, he's back.
it's just been wonderful from that perspective.
That's so good to hear, because that's primarily, isn't that the most important thing, is quality of life, just helping improve that pleasure of living, the normal day-to-day joy. So that's wonderful to hear that. And that's you. And so how long did he have that sort of anxiety after that movement therapy? How long did that last for?
It's really sort of been there ever since.
And how long ago was that?
We started that therapy in 2019.
So
a few years, 3 years, and then only you've just seen a shift in the last month.
It's just a little bit down. It's not, you know,
it's not 100% down.
And you get moments where he's better, and then you go, oh no, it's back.
He does a lot of vocalization to block out anxiety, so he'll make a lot of noise. And I've noticed a number of times when he's, and this is quite interesting as a side note, but staying at a friend's place, because we don't have any Wi-Fi in the house because it upsets his equilibrium. He sat down at a friend's place about 2 meters from a router, and suddenly the vocalization started. And we moved him to another room, and it calmed down a bit. But we've also noticed calming down when he takes some of the ASEA, you'll see a calming effect
immediately. Yeah. One of the things on this trip, as well as those bits of calm, I noticed there was a couple of things that was initially, it was very frustrating for me, because he would have a bit of anxiety and say, what's the matter? And it was something to do with me talking about something. Or another time, it was talking slightly negative, like, you know, oh, it's such a shame, da 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 da. And then another time it was because I got upset, but I was really happy about something. You know how you get upset because you've got some really good news. And anyway, and it was as if his brain was trying to process whether is mum okay? She's crying. She must be upset. And we're trying to explain to him the difference between good tears and bad tears, and the fact that you don't have to talk about everything positive. And so it's just like more awareness of how the world works and what's going on around you.
Yeah, wonderful. So more maturity, more emotional self-awareness. More empathy by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. And there was one night we had a friend just drop in, and we were working out, because we've been doing renovations. A couple of our rooms are just junk rooms at the moment. And so we were working out, she was going to stay the night, suddenly, and we're working out, well, we've got a step mattress, where are we going to put it? And he got all worried, and it was almost like he was worried about where's she going to sleep. We haven't got, and I'm going, you don't normally even pay any attention to things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah. So
Thinking about other people and their needs is not.
That's not.
You don't do that in this.
That diagnosis.
This diagnosis.
Yeah.
You don't think about other people. So.
Yeah. So consideration and more like just relationships. Like he's actually more focused on relating to the outside world. So
yes,
that's wonderful.
I guess for those that may not have seen the photo that I shared on Facebook, although it would have been in the email that
it was on the email that was sent out.
Maybe you could talk about that post or like that message that you sent, because that was pretty special.
That was a moment of good tears. That,
that's what David Penrose told us about. The goosebumps and the giggles. And
absolutely the best part of hearing you see it.
Well, I guess he'd been doing a lot of verbalizing, and he sounded distressed. So we went in and we go, "What's up, buddy?" And then he typed out, "I'm worried about the things my brain is trying to feel." And we go, "Well, what things?" And he goes, "It is trying to be normal like other people." Oh, there it is. Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
And we go, "In what ways is your brain trying to be normal?" And he says, "I'm trying to talk and have friends." And then we had two young guys staying with us. One is his carer, who's here tonight, Jared, and another young guy that was helping us with some of the renovations. They were here, and so he says, "Is Liam and Jared your friends?" And he goes, "Yes." And then, "Well, what can we do to help you? You're obviously distressed." And he says, "I think you should get me more ASEA." And we go, "My goodness."
That blew us out of the water when he said that.
And then we say, "Well, how is ASEA helping you?" And he says, "It is helping my brain to be more normal." And so we go, "Well, what can we get you right now? I can have more ASEA." So that's when we go, right, up a dose.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Hey, so he's self-aware that is what is helping.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
And then when we gave him a dose, he just calmed right down again.
Yeah.
So it's just amazing. So we were pretty excited. We were pretty excited about it.
Now, the other thing that's so exciting about posting this, and then in the discussions that came from it, is that Chris put me in touch with Cindy Sawyer, who has had, it was a video we saw, I think Chris shared it with us very early on in the ASEA journey. And it's a story about her 17-year-old son, which is now 10 years ago, who took ASEA and also infrared saunas, and also what I remember was the liver support, some supplements for liver support.
And minerals too. I spoke to her in 2015.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The electrolyte minerals.
I couldn't help being in tears when she told us the story.
Yeah, and so, and I've been dying to be able to talk with her, and I found her on Facebook, but because I wasn't friends, she never saw my message. Anyway, Chris set us up in a group. So the very next day after posting that photo with all that typing, I was chatting to her back and forth for hours.
Fantastic.
And it was just so wonderful. So just hearing what's happened since, and and I probably don't have liberty to say what we've talked about, but yeah, she was helping me with this product has helped, and that's product's helped, and this is the protocol for the sauna, and that's just been a fantastic outcome. It's just
so thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
Great work, Chris Henderson, and that's the beautiful part of the community as well. Like, because I had the same thing. Like, I'd seen a YouTube of Cindy Sawyer's journey. I literally ran into her at a convention in Salt Lake City, and she was like, just totally open and telling her story. She also told me a story of her daughter with the rheumatoid arthritis.
We haven't even found that out yet.
Yeah. So, challenge, great super mum, another like you, another super mum, and 2 out of 3 kids, like major challenges. And she's just been determined. She's not a doctor, but she just keeps researching and learning, and she's had great outcomes.
Oh, and she was telling me all sorts of new stuff that she's been, new products that she's got in touch with that might help with getting the heavy metals out and things like that too. So, I mean, I know ASEA will, because it ups the glutathione. That'll help get rid of the heavy metals. But Yeah.
Well, it's what I've always said. It's the most powerful physical healing technology I know, but it's not the only one. Why would you only use one? You take it a holistic approach, and
Yes.
I'm a bit envious, to be honest. I wish I was a fly on the wall listening to your conversation with Cindy, because I'm sure you get some great information.
Oh, I'd love to talk to Chris. Put you in the group.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's right. That way we can help more people, of course.
Yeah.
And that was one of the many things that we tried earlier from talking to all of the biomedical doctors and stuff, is we tried transdermal glutathione, which and it was very expensive, and we got bad reactions with it, and then to see this and what it's doing and how easy it is, it's just, it's fantastic.
I mean, it's not something you have to sort of empty capsules and crush up tablets and give this disgusting goop. You know, we've syringed in so many disgusting goops over the years. I mean, it's just so easy. It's just like a little drink, and just lather the gel on. It's just great.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you for mentioning that, because that's obviously a big challenge with that situation, that sort of condition for so many families. That can be quite sensitive, like sensory sensitive. And was he able to take the drink straight away, or did you have to start on the gel and move up to the drink? Because we've had that too in the past.
We started with the gel a bit more because of the liquid was detoxing, and so we're getting meltdowns. But
too big a detox.
He would drink it though.
Oh, good on him. Yeah.
I mean, it's just tastes a bit salty. So he's
drunk a lot worse than that, I can tell you.
You've trained him well.
That's an easy one.
It's easy, yeah. I mean, there was one time he had that H. pylori, and there was one time we had to do the triple antibiotic thing, and I did 2 of them. And at that time I was mixing stuff in with some sweetening and syringing it in and all sorts of stuff. And he was just, no way would he take this stuff. And I'm going, I better taste it. I couldn't get the vile taste off my tongue for 2 hours. I'm going, well, I'm not giving that to him, the poor kid.
Yeah.
It was a tablet, you shouldn't be crushed down, but
No, they're not meant for that. They don't taste good. Yeah, that's a reason they've got a capsule on them. Yeah.
The other thing that's keeping us motivated to keep going is because obviously we've shared it with quite a number of our friends, and we're just getting so many stories back already of. We're just talking to one of our friends in America the other day, and we just sent her some, and she had like 15 to 20 hot flashes a day, and it's down to 3 or 4, and they're only very mild. And she says, I'm not going off this stuff. And so that's like, we're getting all these stories all the time now. And it's like, wow, this is really powerful.
And one of the ladies that joined up, her another lady that's really close friends with her, she was getting massive migraines, debilitating migraines, and on really powerful pain meds every day. Wow. And within a few weeks the migraines were less. She could drop out the powerful drugs, and they're just
2 weeks. 2 weeks. So we're pretty excited.
I mean, we've had a few good results ourselves as well, but I guess Daniel's had the more dramatic result, which we expected.
I mean, it just the other day we both overcoming a cold, and on the weekend, I had quite a sore throat. So I just rubbed the gel on it. It's magic. It's just magic.
Yes.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Just, and then like I took about 300 mils of the liquid, and the next day I had energy. I felt good. I'm like, wow, this is awesome.
Yeah, that is so cool. I love those stories. And that's really great to mention that glutathione as well. Like my last position, I literally was doing the glutathione IVs, and every conversation I've ever had the opportunity to try and share with people that are either paying for them or administering them, I'm like, hey, look at this. This is way simpler, and I think it's, much better value for money. They're not cheap, a lot of those things.
No, they're not cheap.
No, and no needles in your arm.
Exactly. They're not invasive.
Violating your skin barrier.
Exactly. That's the last thing you really want to do. That's right.
I mean, one thing that we had, if we want to talk, not just Daniel, but within about 3 weeks of starting the ASEA ourselves, and we started slow. We heard Dr. Samuelson talk about people that have had problems with, detoxing, but also people who've had problems with the black mold, which we've had in the last couple of houses that we've renovated. That you need to go slow because of the detox pathway. So I went slow. I started I think 15 mils and gradually gone up. But within 3 weeks, and I don't think I was even up to the 60 mils twice a day yet, but I had a retracing sort of event with I've got a back injury. And all of a sudden I just could hardly walk around. And it took 5 days to resolve. And it was just as if the body was going back to that area and going, okay, let's do some renovations here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we've got a friend
in the US
who
similar experience.
It wasn't 3 weeks in. She's been taking it for a little while, a couple of months maybe, and she had a fall.
Fell on her wrists, hurt her wrist really
3 years
badly.
ago. And she had about 3 days where she could hardly move it around. Then it was
It's all pain free, and it's really
So that's just something else people might experience.
Yeah,
We could go on. We could go on.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story, guys. Look, I want to take my hat off to you for extraordinary commitment. You said before it's been really powerful hearing the stories from the people that you've shared it with, and I just want to acknowledge you that you guys are the powerful ones to have the faith and the commitment and the caring for people to go out there and suggest to them to learn about this and try this, and even, as you said, giving product to people to help them really make a difference in people's lives. So, super grateful to you and acknowledge how powerful you are.
We just say, Justin, watch this space, because we're really excited for Daniel. We're confident. We're very confident.
I mean, when we saw Cindy Sawyer's testimony early in our journey, we just go, well, if she can do it, so can we. And so, we're on that mission. We're going to get him completely better.
And a big thank you to Jenny Timms, who took the risk to reach out to us and share it with us and say, hey guys, I really think you should look at this. So thank you, Jenny.
Yes, I know you're on. Oh, there you are. Yeah.
You're very welcome. I had the impression that you were going to speak tonight, and I went, I've got to jump on. There you go. I was going, what time is it? Quick, it's 7:30. Oh, I think they're going, and there you go.
There we are.
Great to see you.
Yeah, it's been too long since we've been able to give you a hug.
I know. You got to come this way soon, because I'm not going to get up there for a while.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much, guys. We'll
Does anyone have a question?